it's a Strat, but it's not a Strat. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I'm not a Strat fan. It's a bit weird, isn't it, still? This is actually an Epiphone part fitted to a Squier. I don't know, if it's meant to go with these posts are definitely not meant to go with the bushings in the guitar. Look at that. Is it the elephant in the room? Is it ugly? Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. So something a little bit odd this week. It's, yeah, what is it? What is it exactly? Well, it's a Stratosonic, of course, from the new Squier Paranormal range. It's a merger, isn't it, of well, essentially a Stratocaster, but it's not a Stratocaster, which for me has a certain appeal because I'm not a Strat fan. You might know that if you've watched the channel before. I've mentioned it on occasion. I don't play Stratocasters because I find certain things about them particularly annoying. I like the shape, I like the comfort, I like the contour curves. They're very comfortable. But as soon as you start playing them, I'll show you. This is a Strat I've had for years. I never play it. I haven't even shown it on the channel because I don't play it, because all of this stuff, it's in the way, isn't it? It is. If you're used to playing Gibsons, like me, all the knobs, they're there. They're there where you strum. So you bruise your hand and constantly turn it down, which is really annoying. And I know I could adjust, but personally, I'm not about to alter my playing technique for a guitar that I don't necessarily like the sound of even. I find Strats thin and whiny, so I just don't play them. But anyway, I saw this in the Paranormal series, and I thought, well, I'm familiar with this, because they've nicked the idea from this, haven't they? This is the SG Special, of course. Wrap over tail bridge, 2 soap bars, no knobs in the way. Same with the Les Paul Special. Wrap over tail bridge, 2 soap bar pickups, no knobs in the way. We may have found a Strat I like. So we're going to find out today. We're going to do a full deep dive review of this guitar, go through everything, all the weights and measures, pickup readings, take it apart, look inside, and play it loads. See what it sounds like. See if it sounds like a Strat or more like a Gibson. Be interesting to find out, won't it? That's what we're going to do. It's going to be a long one. It's probably already about 5 minutes and I haven't done anything. So you know the score. Timestamps are in the description box. If you're in a bit of a hurry, you can skip forward to whatever it is interests you personally. If, however, you've got a little bit of time on your hands, go and put the kettle on or unlock the drinks cabinet, whatever it is you fancy today. Come back, chill out and join us, and let's get stuck in. Yeah, let's see what makes the Squier Paranormal Stratosonic tick. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get stuck in. So the Stratosonic retails as seen on Fender's website for $430 US, 410 English pounds. However, I paid a little bit less than that. I paid 369 English pounds. On the Sweetwater website, it's selling for 430 US. Comes in 2 colours. This, the crimson red transparent, and a vintage blonde. I wasn't sure about that, so I got the crimson red transparent. Do you know what? It looks very red. It's very crimson red, which is always challenging for cameras, but I think the match is all right. That's a very accurate. I'm pointing at you. That camera there. Most of these cameras are fairly accurate. It's that colour. And it looks nice, and it is transparent. And unfortunately, you can't easily see it, but it's just 2 pieces of wood. It's got a line pretty much down the centre there. So 2 pieces of wood, and that's okume, or African mahogany as they also call it, which is a nice, well-respected bit of timber, and it's quite a nice weight. Let's prove that. Let's weigh it. Here we go. 7 pounds, 4 ounces, which is 3.29 kilos. So yeah, it's not a bad weight, is it? So as far as the neck's concerned, it is a bolt-on neck, a la Fender. Fender bolt-on, so traditional Strat-shaped body, bolt-on maple neck. Nothing different about that tool. They call it a medium C profile. It feels fairly shallow. Let's look at the neck profile and measurements on the screen now so you can see for yourselves. Okay, here's the neck profile and measurements at the 1st fret. And here's the neck profile and measurements at the 12th fret. So there you go. Yeah, it feels sort of okay, but yeah, a little bit shallow. It's not a big handful by any stretch of the imagination. It's got a laurel fingerboard. It's got narrow tall frets. We'll have a close look at those in a minute once we've taken the strings off. This has got a graphite nut. That's what it tells us in the specs. And as you can see, nice black headstock. Very neatly done. Nice and tidy. I mean, overall, the guitar is, well, there's nothing wrong. There's no, you can't see, there's no paint blemishes or gouges or marks or anything that I can see. It's a poly finish, so you'd expect it to be, pristine, and it is. The paint jobs. It's something you don't notice because there's nothing wrong with it, you know what I mean? And it's got these great open post vintage style Cluson style tuners, which are amongst my favourites, if not my favourites. There you go. We're going to take the strings off now and we're going to get a little bit deeper. Have a closer look at the board now. Laurel, as I've said, it looks nice. And the frets, let's have a close-up look at the frets. They're very well finished. There's nothing sticking out, no sharpness. Really nice job. And yeah, I did take this home and had a good old play. And it was great out of the box. No problems, no buzzing, no fretting out. And it does come with 9-gauge strings on. I shall restring it with 10s, so I may have to tweak the setup. I'll let you know later if I do. But yeah, as it comes, great job. Now, this is scale length is the big thing. This is not a Fender scale length. This is not a normal Stratocaster scale length, which would be 25.5 inches. This is a Gibson scale length, 24 3/4 inches. So it makes it feel a little bit slinkier. The Fenderness has stopped now, okay? It stopped at the headstock. We've now got a Gibson scale length, and we've got the soap bar pickups, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now here is the Gibson Epiphone style lightning bar tailpiece. And I was looking forward to taking this off and looking to see if it had an Epiphone stamp on the bottom, which it does. There you go. This is actually an Epiphone part fitted to a Squier. Now I was looking out for this because Landon Bailey, the YouTuber, I'll put a link to his channel in the description box. He spotted this when he reviewed his Stratosonic some months back. And guitar.com picked up on the story and ran with it. Got a quote from Squier, Fender, who said, "Oh yeah, that was a mistake, shouldn't have happened. Parts mix up, whatever." you know, a rare occurrence. Well, it's not that rare because mine's got one as well. So there you go. I have no idea how that kind of mistake can happen. You kind of think, well, it couldn't really happen, could it? Unless it was intentional for whatever reason, cost savings or whatever. How the person responsible for fitting that hasn't noticed that it says Epiphone and said, oh, I better tell my supervisor that this part says Epiphone and this is a Squier. I don't know. I don't think it is. I don't know if it's meant to go with these posts. These posts are definitely not meant to go with the bushings in the guitar. Look at that. That's just a shame, really, because it kind of, it's just one of those little things that we can pick up and say, it's a bit lazy. Yeah, it's a shame because otherwise it's I mean, you know, it's a great idea, isn't it? But, you know, if you're going to do it, well, do it properly, you know. Anyway, I'm just going to weigh that actually because it's quite hefty. 75 grams. Yeah, if I keep this, I might be inclined to swap that for something a little bit lighter and more expensive and a bit posher. Something Faber hardware or something might be nice. Now the pickups are described as Fender designed Alnico soap bar pickups. So they're not actually called P90s, although they look like them. I'm not certain if they are the same as P90s or not. Let's take some readings and start our investigations into that. So here we go. We'll start on the bridge soap bar. Okay, yeah, it's quite a low reading that, 6.51 kilo ohms. Let's see, the inductance of that is just over 4 Henrys. Okay, let's go neck. 6.38K. Again, just around about 4 Henrys inductance. And in the middle reading is 3.24K. Now this has also got some fancy switching options, some push-pulls on both pots. On the volume pot, center position only, with it in as normal, the pickups are in parallel, which is what you'd normally expect. If you pull it up, they're in series. There you go. You can see the readings changed, 12.73K. So, blimey, that beefs the reading up, and as you'll hear later, it does affect, it makes it thicker. You'll hear that later. On the tone control, it's basically an out of phase switch. So you can, in the middle position with both pickups on, if you pull that up, they're out of phase. So some fancy switching options if you like that sort of thing. Now on the face of it, the normal readings at 6.5K, bridge and neck, that's quite a little bit lower than a standard Gibson P90 that would read around about 8K on the bridge and the neck. So I would expect these to sound a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to find out, won't it? Let's have a look underneath now. First, let's remove the pickguard. If you watched last week's film, you'll realise how important that is. Here we go. Off. Yeah, well, this has got a big old route there, so you're probably not going to be inclined to leave that one off, are you? Now, let's be interested to see if these have got any adjustment on them. They're not springing down when I push them, so I'm not sure they will have. You can see the springiness now, so there is something under there actually. Just that it was clearly down as far as it could go. Here you go. The foam and spring method. No identifying marks on this neck pickup. And from what I think this is slightly different design to a Gibson one. You would now be able to pull that cover off without removing the pole piece screws, but it doesn't look like you can do that with this one. These screws obviously are the ones that screw it to the base here. You see the holes in the base, these screws just screw into the base. Okay, I'm going to just pop that back, and then we'll get the other one out. There you go. And that's the bridge one, exactly the same, no markings. Nothing to see here. There you go, that's what it looks like inside. Push pulls. Little green cap down there, but you know, these are always, I mean, I know nothing about this sort of stuff. I'd be scared to even change the pickups on this, because I wouldn't be confident I'd be able to retain the, or maybe it wouldn't be that difficult, I don't know. Because the pickups are only, what are these? 2 wires. Pickups are only 2 wires. Okay. Well, that might not be that difficult then. You know, I think that's the neck, the black. I can't remember, but it's got an earth and a 1, so a 1 and a live. The same with this red one from the other pickup. Connect there, connect there. Maybe that isn't so difficult. Because I'm thinking, oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's hear it first, and then later on we'll talk about whether or not we feel any mods are in order. Yeah, well, there you go. That's that. What we'll do now is we'll put it all back together. Yeah, I've covered everything. Truss rod's just a hex open hole. Don't know if you can see that, but open hole hex truss rod, standard Squier. Yeah, standard Squier, isn't it? That standard Squier and Epiphone. They all use that sort of stuff, don't they? Right, yeah, let's put it all back together. We'll put some 10s on it. Ernie Ball regular slinkies I use. Then we'll restring it, and then we'll plug it in, and we'll have a listen and have a good old play. See if it sounds like a Strat or a Gibson. And then we'll come back and we'll do a bit more of this. Waffling. See you in a minute. That's what it sounds like unplugged. Right, same rig as always today. Princeton 65, no adjustments have been made. So what you're hearing, clean, unless I show you. I'll show you if I use any pedals. I've got a spark booster and a rat on the board today, which I will use a little bit later, but I'll show you on that camera there, you know, the one. When I stamp on them, basically. So most of this now, until I show you, it's all straight clean into the amp. Exactly the same rig as I use for everything, okay? So there's a parity between what I did last week or the week before and probably 6 months ago now. All the same. So we can actually hear what the guitar's doing, how hard it's pushing the amp, basically, which I think is the important thing. Anyway, well, this is what it sounds like. bridge pickup. Middle. Sounds all right, actually. So here's a really weird thing. I set the rig up to record this yesterday before I went home, because I just have to swap the cameras around from when I'm doing the talking bit. And I plugged it in to sort of set it up and decide what pedals I was going to use, basically. And I didn't think it sounded especially good. It didn't have that enough oomph. But this morning, it sounds great. I don't get it. Sounds all right, doesn't it? I was about to sort of go, oh yeah, it's not as good as. Well, I was comparing it obviously to the Gibson Epiphone setup. So actually, what I'm going to just quickly do now is just do a quick comparison with the. We'll use the SG Special, I think. So, right, we'll do this. Straight away you can hear how much more open this sounds unplugged. It's chalk and cheese, isn't it? Anyway. Okay, yeah, that does sound a lot better, probably. Unplugged again. It's got, you can't really hear it, can you? Whereas that's like shouting at you. It's different, obviously, construction in that that's set neck. This is a bolt on. So that must make quite a difference. There's other differences as well, I suppose. This is a maple neck, that would be mahogany. And also, you'll notice that the pickup on that is quite a way further away from the Epiphone tail bridge. Anyway, sorry, a little diversion there. So this is it's kind of a nicer version. It hasn't quite got that push over the cliff. Can't play this morning. Maybe I need more gain. So I've got the spark booster on because that gives it that extra push over the cliff, like this. Not like that, like this. Especially on the neck. Anyway, we'll leave that off for a minute. This is what it's like without that. So let's look at the knobs. So it's got 2 push-pulls. So on the neck pickup, it's got series or parallel. And what it says in the instructions, in the middle position, this works. It oh, you can hear it buzz. So it's in normal, it's in parallel. And as I sort of vaguely explained, series means I think it sends the signal from one through the other one. That's the best way I can explain it, because I don't really know, so you should probably research that yourselves. But anyway, parallel is normal, and series, there's a definite hum. I'm wondering if that is wired incorrectly, because it says in the instructions that in the middle position only, you get, here's the difference. That's in parallel. Series engaged. It's like a lot of these fancy switching things, it does something, but I question whether it does enough to make it even worthwhile. It makes it sound a little bit duller as far as I can tell. It just sounds like you've rolled the tone off a bit. Yeah, it just takes some highs away. Now the other thing is, it says it only works in the middle position, so, and it shouldn't affect the other positions, but I've got a feeling this might be wired wrong, because it does. For instance, there you go. If you switch to the neck pickup, nothing happens. Exactly the same. And annoyingly, if you switch to the bridge, nothing happens at all. There's nothing. So I think that's wired wrong. When I was mucking around earlier, I was, you know, playing around with it. I've always found when I've got switching options, I'm mucking around with them, and rather than actually concentrating on playing, and I kept going to the bridge position and killing the signal. Oh, it's gone. Right, so that's that one. The other one's an out of phase, which is a little bit more used. That's normal, and then in the middle position it gives you out of phase. Which is quite a nice, I like that combined with sort of fuzz. And maybe rolling the tone back. Can be quite nice, that. Let's muck around with something. It's got some stuff going on, isn't it? I think I could get into playing this. I say this, not a Strat, this Strat, because I say it's not got any stuff in the way. I was trying to think of a clever word then, but I didn't find it. Yeah, it's unencumbered. Something like that I was looking for. It's unencumbered. My playing is unencumbered. It's just me I'm fighting against. And that's all you need, really, isn't it? I mean, you just want to be battling against your own ability, not the guitar. This is quite comfortable to play. Next, okay. It's got some sounds going on. I think this... I mean, it might work with various configurations of stuff. Again, that's the buzz switch. I reckon that's wired wrong. Anyway, let's actually see if the volume and tone controls work. Yeah, the volume kind of works. Not to the extent I think it'd be that useful, because I think on 10 it's not, as I said earlier, it's not pushing quite enough anyway. Let's just try that with a spark before I speak too soon. Let's try it this. Okay, yeah, I spoke too soon. It kind of works. Well. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. It still sounds like a Fender, doesn't it? You know what I mean? I think it still sounds like a Fender. Although different to what a Strat would normally sound like. But it's still got that brightness that Gibsons don't really have, do they? There is a definite difference. There's a darkness about Gibsons and there's a lightness about Fenders. Yeah, that's interesting, that. Because people say, oh, you know, there's nothing sounds like a Les Paul. If you want that kind of Les Paul sound, you've got to get a Les Paul, you know, or maybe an SG will get close to it. But Fenders don't, because they've got a different sound. So this is interesting because it kind of proves that, yeah, I think it does prove it's not about the pickups. It's not about the pickups, is it? Because that guitar doesn't sound like this guitar. And, you know, the rig's the same, that's the same, that's the same. So, although having said that, we haven't really heard a lot of the SG today. But, You can take my word for it. You know what? You can hear it. You can hear the Fender twang in this guitar. Just now when I was playing it, the cleans, it's got a sort of a sparkle. It's not thin like a Stratocaster normally sounds. As I said right at the beginning, I'm not a fan of the Strat sound because it is quite thin. And actually, I think I've just kind of worked out, it's taken me long enough. I think I've just worked out why so many people play Strats. Because when I've criticised the sound of Strats before, obviously I get admonished in the comments, people saying, well, I'm an idiot really, because so many fantastic players use Strats. And I think one of the reasons for that is they sound good in a mix. You know, I think a Strat needs a bass guitar behind it to make it sound good. On its own, it is pretty thin and wiry and twangy. You know, I don't think it's a pleasant sound. But yeah, put a bass and drums behind it, and that's what it is. I was listening to an isolated Ritchie Blackmore track on the YouTube. It's wonderful stuff you can get on the YouTube. But it's an isolated track of his guitar. Wow, it doesn't sound anything like you'd expect. It sounds thin and wiry and quite messy and twangy. But obviously technically brilliant, you know, because Ritchie is technically brilliant. But you can hear that's how I came to my epiphany about Strats. It's probably bollocks, but you know, well, it's a thought anyway. So anyway, this, I'm pleased to say, doesn't sound exactly like a Strat, but it's got some characteristics that set it apart from my Gibsons. So it's definitely, I like it. Yeah, I like it. And also what it's got going for it above a normal Strat is obviously the fact that it hasn't got all these knobs in the way. So I can play this very comfortably without bashing my hand and turning it down all the time. So this is my favourite Strat so far. Yeah, it's definitely my favourite Strat. Although, let's not forget this, if you don't mind me saying so, brilliant modification of my old Bullet. Remember this? I'll put a link to this in the description box. Yeah, this one here. See, I moved I junked all the 3 single whiny pickups and the knobs, and I replaced it with a single P90, and I got this pickguard made with the knobs in a more suitable position. So yeah, it's a shame I didn't get a chance to play this, to be honest with you. We'll dig it out soon. And now we got this one too, another easier to play Strat. Not just because of the lack of knob bashing, but the scale length. This has got the Gibson scale length of 24 3/4 inches, as opposed to 25.5 inches that you'd normally find on a Stratocaster. I think even Ritchie Blackmore said that he'd made it hard for himself by choosing a Stratocaster, because there's less tension on the strings on the Gibson scale length, so easier to bend. So can you imagine what Blackmore would have been like if he'd have chosen the SG as his guitar? So yeah, I'm digging it. I'm liking it. It's not all perfect though, is it? There's a few things that need addressing. And talking about, if you're thinking about getting one, there's nothing wrong with this that I would say should stop you rushing out and buying one, because they're affordable as well. And I think they're different enough to justify having one. But there's a few things. Okay, so let's start with the pickups. Now, I should say they might add to the Fenderness on this, so it'll be interesting to find out what it sounds like with some better pickups. I think they're pretty average. They're very low output. I think you could see that from the readings, and you could hear it. They weren't punching as hard as the the Gibson P90s. So the first thing that I will be inclined to do is to change these for something sexy. So I'm making a plan for that. I'm definitely going to hang on to this and do some upgrades, pickups, and also this bridge is going to have to go. I'll swap this for something lightweight, along with the posts and the bushings. I'll try and get something that kind of fits together a little bit more snugly, not slugly. That'd be, no. This is a bit sluggish, to be honest with you. I want something that's tight and, yeah, crisp. Tuners are great, but I must say, you didn't hear it. When you play it unplugged, you can hear it. They rattle. These buttons are actually wobbly. Actually on the posts, you know what I mean? They're rattly. You can't hear it now, but you take my word for it. I mean, you can't hear it when it's plugged in, so it's just a thing, you know, just a thing. You'd be aware of if you buy it. If you hear a rattling, that's what it is. And yeah, I think, I can't remember who it was now, but I saw somebody else reviewed one and they said there was a rattle. And I'm imagining that's what Emily, sorry, Emily, I can't remember your surname, like you're likely to be watching this. But anyway, Emily, another YouTuber, said there was a rattle, and I'm imagining that's what she was talking about, because mine does it too. And there's nothing else that could rattle on it, is there? So, there we go. Oh, what I didn't mention earlier is that normally a Fender neck body straight through, because of the tail bridge, I'm annoying myself saying that now, sorry, because of this wrap over tailpiece, this neck here, look, I'm going to show you on that camera, it's at an angle, it's at a slight angle to get the right amount of, I suppose, you know, just to get the setup right, so it's not straight through. So if you wanted to swap the neck on this, oh, actually, I don't think that would be a problem, but obviously because the scale length is different to a normal Fender, you couldn't just put a normal Fender neck on this. That was the thing. I'm confusing myself now, but yeah. So back to the angle. The neck angle's slightly different, but as you can also see, this is screwed on the bass side pretty much all the way down. It's fine for me, but there's not much movement on that. So if you liked a really low action, you might find yourself having to shim the neck, which is not, well, it's not a big deal for anyone that knows how to shim, which is not me, because I've never done it. I know what it is, but I've never tried it. I expect we will one day. But anyway, just something else that I thought I'd mention, just trying to cover all bases really. But hey, look, you know, if you got one, well done, because it's brilliant. You know, all of that stuff doesn't need doing, but I'm going to do it because I've found a Stratocaster that I like, I properly like, and I can play without bashing my hand and turning it down a lot. So I'm going to upgrade it. I'm going to change the pickups. I'm going to change the hardware. I'm not sure what I'll do about this push pulls. I'll probably leave it and try and just try and wire the new pickups into it, and then we'll go from there. There you go. A Stratosonic. What else? Yeah. The only other thing, is it the elephant in the room? Is it ugly? First thing I said is it's odd. I think I called it odd, maybe weird. It's a bit weird, isn't it, still? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is that a deal breaker for you anyway? We say, well, yeah, all that's well and good, Cole, but look at it. Well, actually, I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. Looks good with a pickguard, doesn't it, though? Now, talking of pickguard, what we'll do now is we'll just we'll look at the pickguard on or off result from last week. So let me get that guitar. Yeah, believe it or not, last week I made a 40-minute film talking about pickguards. The question was, does a Les Paul need a pickguard? Does it look better with it off or on? And what do you think? Overwhelming response, overwhelmingly positive response. And that was a surprising thing. You know, I just talked about pickguards for 40 minutes and you're going, yeah, this is the stuff we want to hear. It's important. It's proper guitar nerdery stuff. A couple of people were a little bit like, huh? What's it doing now? But there you go. I can't buy a new guitar every single week, can I? So sometimes I'm going to go off piste a little bit and experiment with stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Anyway, the point was I was keeping the vote open because I'd posted a poll in the community section on YouTube. And the vote was, last week when I started the film, 58% in favour of leaving the pickguard on. 42% take it off, which is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be off because I like this guitar. I think it looks great without a pickguard. I think it looks all right with a pickguard, but I think it looks great without a pickguard, and I find it easier to play, as I said last week. I'll put the link in the description box, so you've got to check it out. So anyway, 58% we started with, and now, as of this morning, we're on 53% in favour of leaving it on. Shit. So I'm going to have to put it back on because I did promise. There's the poll. As you can see, 3,000 votes now. 53% in favour of putting it on. So what I'm going to do, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to leave it on. I might, you know, I might take it off from time to time. High days and holidays. I might even take it off when I'm filming myself playing it. If I play it, if I get a chance to play it, that's the problem with a lot of these guitars. I don't get a chance to do this stuff. But yeah, you know, maybe we'll have the pickguard on for Sunday best. Hang on. This is how easy it is. He says as he fucks it up. Someone did suggest that I pretended I'd lost it. I say I'm going to do something. I'll try and do it. There you go. You voted marginally in favour. It's only marginal, but you know, a vote's a vote. And we can't be questioning the authenticity of that vote now, can we? That'd be stupid. So that's it. That's it. And that's it for this week. What more could there be? Well, nothing. That's it. I'm done now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. And you didn't find it shallow. Someone did say that last week's pickguard film was a bit shallow. There you go. You're entitled to your opinion. I disagree with you. I thought it was brilliant. So, yeah. So keep watching the channel for more shallow content and in-depth content like this week. That was well in-depth this week, wasn't it? Well in-depth. Well deep. That was well deep. Keep watching for more well deep content and shallow content from time to time. It's not a matter of running out of ideas. It's a matter of not having a new guitar to review. And as you saw from this week, I got quite excited because I had a new guitar to review. It's not a viable business, you know, if you buy a new guitar every week and make less money from the film than what you spend on the guitar, which is actually what happens. Yeah, I've called it a Ponzi scheme. It's not even a good Ponzi scheme. Anyway, I'll stop rabbiting now. I might have a new guitar next week. I might not. I haven't decided yet. So come back, same time, same place, next week, and let's find out. I look forward to it. Thanks for your company today. See you again. Cheers. Ta-ra. you.